What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be tackling down a new project, the redesigning Ja Morant's first signature shoe. Now in this video, this is not a tutorial video, but this will be a breakdown video of my process, and I'm showing you tips and tricks that I use to achieve this result, as you can see on screen right now. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is find reference images. For reference images, I use PureRef to upload the images, so I have them all in one place. And for the reference images, I use Pinterest, Twitter, Google, wherever I can find inspiration, that's where I am. And as you can see, we're going over a couple of sketches. All right, after the sketching process, I just do a little review and actually choose one shoe that I want to move forward with. And this one right here is the one that I choose. So after choosing it, I just do a light cleanup, add some shadows, and just do a grayscale over it. So then I can do the color block, as you can see right here, to add shadows back, make it look good. And then this right here is the grayscale, as you can see. So you got the highlights, you got the shadows, and this is the color. Now moving on to Blender 3D, first we're going to start off with the sole. Now there's very basic principles when coming to designing the first base of the shoe. As you can see, we have the vertices. You want to copy the vertices, which is Shift D. Then you want to hit mirror on the X axis, because we do not want to do extra work. Then after that, you want to extrude the vertices up, and then you just want to place the vertices to match the contour of the midsole, as you can see I'm doing right here. Now this process is very tedious, but trust me, the payoff is worth it. And as you can see on the right side, the complete version. So after that, with the subdivision modifier activated, you just want to fix it up a little bit, and using O, which is the shortcut for proportional editing. Now proportional editing just means that once you grab one vertex, the surrounding in the circle also moves with that. So as you can see, we have the final base shape of the sole. Now moving on to the upper, look at that thing, just gorgeous. All right, now moving on to the upper, it's the same principle as we did for the sole. We're going to extrude it, and we're going to fix the vertices until they match up with our reference image. Now, once I got it all lined up with the reference images, now I want to go into scope mode. The reason I use scope mode because I find it very intuitive and quicker to work with versus just trying to place the vertices and the planes in space. And you'll see why this is important coming up. So as you can see, I'm using two brushes, the grab brush and the smooth brush. Now with the smooth brush, you smooth everything out, and with the grab brush, you pull things in and you pull things out. And you should get something that looks like this. Now after we got our base scope, we move on into a process called retopology. Retopology is when you take a high dense mesh and compress it down into a less dense mesh, as you can see I'm doing here. Now this process doesn't take that long. I want to say about 10-15 minutes. Yeah, it's a pain, but trust me, it's definitely worth it in the end. Now after that, after we get one side done, we want to duplicate it and mirror it on the X axis, because we do not want to do double the work. And after that, you just want to continue to adjust it, and you should get something like this. Look at that thing, crispy. And after that, you want to add a solidify modifier. So now for the midsole, I'm not going to show you the whole entire process, but I will be showing you how one piece is done, and then you can fill in the rest. Now for the midsole, there's two key techniques that I use. One technique is the shrink right modifier, and another thing is snapping. If you enable both of these things, these allow you, so as you can see, I'm just going over filling up. It's kind of like a puzzle, you know, you just fill it up, and then you want to add some thickness with the solidify modifier. Now after you got that done, you can move on to the other ones, as you see that I'm doing. Now the good thing about this is that the vertices actually stick onto the geometry, and you're not just floating in the air or whatever. Now moving on to actually making the precise details into the midsole. This technique I use is it's very simple. K for the cut tool, and then you want to bevel it, and then you want to extrude it. And after that, you just got to play around and fix the geometry accordingly when you extrude it, as you can see that I'm doing right now. All right, now moving on to the indent right here. This is why it's important to project the texture onto the image so you can do cutouts like this, what you're extruding and everything else. Now moving on to the secondary upper. Now for the secondary upper, we're gonna go hop back into the scope mode. Now, as you can see right here, I'm just filling out the shoe, making sure the proportions are right, making sure I'm getting it all correct. Then I jump into the mask tool and I mask everything, and then I color in, or I paint back the parts that I actually want to affect. I extrude it with the inflate brush. Sometimes, you gotta play with it, get that right height with it. Now it's just a rinse, wash, and repeat process. Making sure that your lines are clean and crisp, making sure that you're doing, trying to keep the best that you can do. And as you can see, now after that, you're gonna extrude it again. Make sure that there's no out geometry, making sure that it's all good and crisp and clean. Crisp and clean. There you go, and then you extrude it, and it's just like this for all the other parts. So as you can see, just want to make sure that I clean it up. It doesn't need to be perfect, because the same thing that we did for the upper, we're gonna do for these parts too. Look how crisp this thing look. Now after we take the scope and we retopo it, which is we're taking high dense geometry, bringing it to simple geometry. And sometimes when you're doing this, you get issues like this, and you really just have to problem solve it as best as you can. Now look how crisp that thing look. You feel me? Yeah, so at the end, after everything is done, I like to check my model on different viewports. Then I UV unwrap that. That'll be another tutorial later on. Then after we UV unwrap it, I hop into Substance Painter. So with Substance, it's really just like a drag and drop type of thing. Moving on to a more detailed part. Now this is a more advanced thing. So you're going to use the brush tool, and you're also going to add a filter, a blur filter, in order to blur out some of those edges so that they're not too harsh. Then we hop back into Blender, add our formula, and this is the final product. Now leave in the comment section below, what colorway are you messing with the hardest? Are you messing with the red, black, blue? And also, coming up soon, I'll be showing you guys how to make this jersey and marvelous design and texturing it in Substance. But that's all for today. I hope you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.